So yesterday I was watching some TV, which I rarely do all that much these days, to be honest, is watch cable television. But anyways, besides the point, I was watching The Story of God, a show that's hosted by Morgan Freeman, and it's where he goes around places all around the world. Um, yeah, just all around the world, visiting different people's cultures and their beliefs, spiritual beliefs, religious beliefs, as to which god or gods they believe in and all that stuff. And a there was one in particular that I just found interesting. Um, and it was like founded in Iran. It was a religion called Zoroastrianism, and I'm just gonna read a couple of paragraphs just in case you're unfamiliar with the idea, just to kind of bring you up to speed. So, Zoroastrianism is one of the world's oldest religions that remains active. It is a monotheistic faith, i.e., a single creator, God, centered in a dualistic cosmology of good and evil, and an eschatology predicting the ultimate destruction of evil. Ascribed to the teachings of Iranian speaking prophet Zoroaster, also known as Zarathustra, it exalts a deity of wisdom, Ahura Mazda, which is a wise, or otherwise translated wise lord, as its supreme being. Major features of Zoroastrianism, such as messianism, judgment after death, heaven and hell, and free will, have influenced other religious systems including Second Temple Judaism, Gnosticism, Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism, Catholicism, and on and on and on and on and on. With roots dating back to the second millennium BC, Zoroastrianism enters recorded history in the 5th century BC, along with the Mithraic Median prototype and Zoroastrianist Sassanid successor. It served as the state religion of the pre-Islamic Iranian empires for more than a millennium, from around 600 BC to 650 CE. Zoroastrianism was suppressed from the 7th century onwards, following the Muslim conquest of Persia. Recent estimates place the current number of Zoroastrians at around 190,000, with most living in India and in Iran. Their number is declining, and in 2015 there were reports of up to 100,000 converts in Iraqi Kurdistan. Besides the Zoroastrian diaspora, the older Mithric faith Yazdanism is still practiced amongst Kurds. One thing that, and Morgan Freeman was interviewing a lady that was real, I guess she was a practitioner of the faith and she knew all about the beliefs and the history of Zoroastrianism. And one of the things that I really liked, not that I'm now like converted and I'm a Zoroastrianist or whatever they call themselves. Um, but one thing that I found the most intriguing while I was watching that whole interview of that show called The Story of God with Morgan Freeman was that Zoroastrianism doesn't, at least modern, because what I'm reading right now is kind of the genesis or the beginning of Zoroastrianism. And I'm not too sure if the lady that Morgan Freeman was kind of just interviewing or having a chat with, and while they were like at a temple and people were bathing in like a little pool of water where they throw in food and like they offer food and fruits and you know water and all kinds of stuff, and they kind of they put it there for their dead. The water looked pretty. It didn't look too clean. You know what I mean? It looked kind of green with some muck and rotten food there that supposedly the dead people from the afterlife eat or whatnot. And when they pass on to the next life, the food's there. And once people need to cleanse themselves of their sins, etc., they bathe in this water to cleanse themselves. But yeah, like I was saying, I was going back to that. I don't know if the things she was talking about was like modern Zoroastrianism or if it's still pretty much identical with the ancient times of Zoroastrianism. But again, what I found the most interesting about while Morgan Freeman was having a conversation with this woman was that they don't necessarily believe in a devil. I'm going to go ahead and read this right here. It says, the most important texts of the religion are those of the Avesta, which includes the writings of Zoroaster, known as the Gathas, enigmatic poems that define the religion's precepts, and the Yasna, the scripture. The full name by which Zoroaster addressed the deity is Ahura, the Lord Creator, and Mazda, supremely wise. The religion philosophy of Zoroaster divided the early Iranian gods of Proto-Indo-Iranian tradition, but focused on responsibility and did not create a devil per se. So it was on one's own doing a responsibility to where if your spirit or whatever one wants to call it is in the good or in the bad, it's through your own volition. It's not because the invisible sky daddy loves these people more than these people, or the devil wants my soul instead of the Jew soul or the Japanese soul. He wants my fucking Hispanic ass soul for whatever reason, you know. It's like it isn't. It places it on personal responsibility. The Zoroaster proclaimed that there is only one God, the singularity creative and sustaining force of the universe, and that human beings are given a right of choice. Because of cause and effect, they are responsible for the consequences of their choices. The contesting force of Ahura Mazda was called Angra Mainyu, or angry spirit. Post-Zoroastrian scripture introduced the concept of Ahriman, the devil, which was effectively a personification of Angra Mainyu. So this is like the ancient form, and she made it very clear in obviously the modern times that there is no devil, and that once other cultures, other religions started kind of nitpicking at Zoroastrianism and they founded their own religions, then a devil came into their religious structure as a whole. So it didn't start with the devil, but somewhere along the line, once these people believe in this, and these people believe in that, and these people believe in that, through repetition and I guess self-preference, then the devil kind of came into form. So I just found that all just really interesting. I'm just going to go ahead and read a little bit more of this, and then I'll ramble for a bit more, and I'll fuck off into the infinity of the cosmos to which I began before I wasn't anything or something. But yeah, anyway. Zoroastrian's creator Ahura Mazda, through the Spenta Manu, good spirit, bounteous immortals, is an all-good father of Asha, translating to truth, order, justice, in opposition of Druj, which means falsehood or deceit, and no evil originates from him. He and his works are evident to humanity through the 6 primary Amisha Spentas and the host of other Yazatas, through whom worship the Mazda is ultimately directed. Spenta Manu, adjoined unto truth, oppose the spirit's opposite. Angra Mainyu and its forces born of Akim Mana, which translates to evil thinking. Zoroastrianism has no major theological divisions, though it is not uniform. Modern era influences having a significant impact on individual and local beliefs, practices, values, and vocabulary, sometimes merging with tradition and in other cases displacing it. In Zoroastrianism, the purpose in life is to be among those who renew the world, to make the world progress towards perfection. Its basic maxims include Umata, Ukata, Uvarshta, which means good thoughts, good words, good deeds. The second one is there is only one path, and that is the path of truth. And the third is do the right thing because it is the right thing to do, and then all beneficial rewards will come to you also. Let me just scroll down here a little bit more and read this last few paragraphs in regards to conversion, survival, modern Zoroastrianism. Where was it? Just gotta scroll down a little bit more. Yeah, here's a little part called the creation of the universe in regards to Zoroastrianism. According to the Zoroastrian creation myth, Ahura Mazda existed in light and goodness above, while Angra Mainyu existed in darkness and ignorance below. They have existed independently of each other for all time, and manifest contrary substances. Ahura Mazda first created 7 abstract heavenly beings called Amesha Spentas, who support him and represent beneficent aspects along with numerous Yazads, lesser beings, worthy of worship. He then created the universe itself in order to ensnare evil. Ahura Mazda created the floating egg-shaped universe in 2 parts. First, the spiritual, and 3,000 years later, the physical. Ahura Mazda then created Gyomard, the archetypical perfect man, and the first bull. While Ahura Mazda created the universe and humankind, Angra Mainyu, whose instinct is to destroy, miscreated demons, evil yasads, and noxious creatures such as snakes, ants, and flies. Angra Mainyu created an opposite evil being for each good being, except for humans, which he found he could not match. Angra Mainyu invaded the universe through the base of the sky, inflicting Gyomard and the bull with suffering and death. However, the evil forces were trapped in the universe and could not retreat. The dying primordial man and bull emitted seeds. From the bull seed grew all beneficial plants and animals of the world, and from the man's seed grew a plant whose leaves became the first human couple. Humans thus struggle in a twofold universe trapped with evil. The evils of this physical world are not products of an inherent weakness, but are the fault of Angra Mainyu's assault on creation. This assault turned the perfectly flat, peaceful, and everyday lit world into a mountainous, violent place that is half night and half day at all times. So yeah, I find all that far more, a bit more just mind expanding and informative through the evolution and teachings of religion and how religion has grown and different cultures depending on what part of the world you were born in, which longitudes and latitudes you just happened to be born in, and it could have been anywhere, and you could have been any race, but you're the race that you are right now because your great-great-great-great-grandparents said so. I just find Zoroastrianism being one of the oldest known religions, and how a lot of modern religions kind of just, in one way or another, stem from that, whether they want to admit it or not. So yeah, I just found that really interesting. Also, Freddie Mercury, singer from Queen, his family was, they practiced he was Zoroastrian by faith. I found that pretty interesting. Their his parents, or his great grandparents, or his ancestors in general, but his parents were fleeing religious persecution from Muslims in Persia, sometime between like the 7th and 10th century. And the Zoroastrians settled in India, where they where they came to be called Parsis. And I guess Freddie Mercury did have he always kind of had a respect and perhaps didn't take the Zoroastrian philosophy just like super literal, but he always had a sense of respect and realized that it helped them maybe see the world through a different light, yet he probably wasn't as militant and as hard-nosed by the book as his parents were. You know what I mean? So that was pretty that was interesting when I read about that as well. It's just crazy. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of videos about. I think the algorithms on YouTube have gotten a lot more smarter, and if you watch 2-3 videos about a certain topic, next time you log into your account, it just gives you like all these like recommended. And I've just been, I guess, for my own amusement and out of my own self. Not that I pity these people, but just been watching a lot of videos about the rapture and these like militant Christians and Catholics that believe in that the rapture is going to happen any minute now, and Jesus is going to come and he's going to take all his believers on a cloud, and all the non-believers are going to stay here on earth, and daddy fucking da. And I just scrolled through the comments, and I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, I'm gonna find like hardcore like bashing and all kinds of crazy shit. But there is hundreds and hundreds of fucking people that are just like, yes, you are correct, and Jesus is coming soon, and daddy fucking da, and all these non-believers will suffer the mighty wrath of hellfire and brimstone for not believing in the mighty Jesus. And it's just like, damn, like I thought it would be like dying down, but at least in certain people's channels and certain people's videos and a lot of the comment sections, a lot of people like hold on to this belief so fucking bad, and it's just like it's sure it's a bit depressing and sad, but it's just amusing to me that in the 21st century, the year 2019, hundreds and hundreds of people still believe in this rapture bullshit. And it's just fucking mind-boggling. It's like, and I like seesaw with the idea of, oh, let people believe what they want to believe. And I'm like, sure, sometimes okay. But it gets to a point where it's just not even a belief anymore. It's fucking it's fucking it's like a form of psychosis. It's fucking crazy. It's, I don't know. It's just fucking, but you got your hardcore Catholics and hardcore Christians, they fucking go off with that shit, and it's pretty sad to a certain degree. But yeah, just random thoughts on Zoroastrianism and militant religious folk in the Western culture here in America. And You can only imagine from like the natives, like the Indians' perspective back, when they still had their lands and they hadn't been invaded yet. And you can only imagine from the natives' perspective, it's like, so you people came on your boats, and you people came to our land, and it wasn't with open arms, but with Bibles, guns, and diseases. Then you took our land, you killed us with your guns and your diseases, and after all that was said and done, you foreigners had the arrogance and the audacity to call us godless savages. Well, I'm sure the Indians and the natives had their gods and their versions of just philosophical spirituality, gods, heavens, afterlife, rebirth, reincarnation. I'm sure they had their version of a god or gods. And well, of course they did. And it's just, but foreigners came with better guns and better, well-equipped. It's like the guns. It's like no wonder gun culture in America is just so insane, because it dates back to just crazy. It's almost like guns is an extension of humans. Like, since evolution didn't like grant us or equipped us with like a stingray, like a stinger, or the ability to spit venom, or the ability to like sting someone with the fucking, like a hornet, or a stingray or whatever. It's like, since Mother Nature didn't give us those types of tools, it's almost like the gun is an extension of, well, since Mother Nature didn't give me or bless me with something to kill you, I'm just going to have to invent it and rest my finger on this little trigger here, and it'll shoot fucking lead and pump your body full of fucking iron, nickel, metal, whatever the fuck bullets are made out of. I don't know. But it's just, yeah, this video has gone on for way longer than I had intended to, as is always the case, as you probably know by now. So if you made it to the end of this video, thanks for watching, and see you on the next episode.